One is me.
And we are live. Welcome everybody. Or everyone.
Hello. Allah.
Jazz hands.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
The new layout.
And a floating head in the darkness.
Yes. You're always floating.
Yeah, but I'm wearing a black shirt today, so.
Your floating hand too. You're like,
Ooh, the Scotch is haunted.
let's go. That strange man in the background.
Strange man.
True story.
I just want to thank all of our followers for helping us get to affiliate. Thank you very much.
Woohoo!
Yay! Thank
Yay.
you.
Thank you.
And we are hard at work on making new content.
And Victor sends his apologies and thanks as well. He's a little under the weather tonight, so he won't be joining us, but wanted me to pass along thanks and his appreciation as well.
He was kidnapped by kobolds again. He needs to
I
stop
was just
taking
saying
their
under the
candles.
weather. Just saying under the weather.
Sorry.
They said no cops.
Cops. All
Anyhow.
right.
All right. So,
This is a crack professional organization. Yes.
Yeah, look at us. We're on the ball tonight.
But we've been away, what? This 2-week delay for Pyro Club group? So
Yep.
we need a recap.
so last time, there was a bit of a midnight mission, starring Rosalita Dandelion, Minchinos Inflicari, and Ithis,
Dun, dun, dun,
to try and get the hammer back
dun, dun,
from
dun.
their ship, whose name we will not say because it's being changed.
Oh, the ship? Yeah, I thought you meant the
Yeah.
Like Giorgio's name's getting changed? Oh wait, the ship.
Oh, I have the note for the name of it. Like, why did I write a swear word on my paper?
That's why.
Pretty much.
Carver Grenning and Caleb went out for a night on the town after contacting Finithil. Little did they know that Navik had already found Finithil and joined with Minchinos and them at the docks. Finithil met Rosie. Rosie didn't freak out. In fact, thought he was pretty cool.
He is really cool.
And then Navik attempted to drown him 3 times.
On the count of 3, by the way.
Yeah, it's true.
To
Warning
be
the
fair,
net.
Manchinos did warn him. That he asked if Nava could count, and I said probably not.
Fair point.
However, Navik got onto the boat thanks to Minchinos' diversion, setting some other boat on fire. Let's ignore that. Then just sprinted off the boat, if I remember correctly,
Yes, I sprinted, then jumped off the boat.
with
With-
Finithil.
With Finithil, yeah.
You invisibly sprinted and
Clotheslined
tackled
them.
Finithil
Yep.
by surprise and threw him in the water. Let's be honest on what happened.
I had him around the waist or shoulders or something. Maybe a headlock, I don't know.
The headlock into the water.
Caleb and Carver went to the exterior of the Temple of Tyr to place a small stone where Finithil told them to previously on how to contact him or let them know that he's back in the city. Of course, he already knew that because he's disguised as a guest of Sassel's over at the Pearl and Swine. But in that alley, was approached by a strange-looking man, pale, gaunt, with some black face paint, and
Thanks, Scar
introduced
Crusher, for the
himself as a member of the Emerald Syndicate, and offered to trade information for a task. That information was the whereabouts of the party's old companion, Garrett McAllister, and Caleb made the deal in exchange for basically either claiming the hammer At this point, he had no idea that the other group were solving that problem, or also just making the whole investigation go away. And then they went to a bar. Good old gore-covered club, where they Carver proceeded to get his head stomped on by a Goliath.
I drank someone's beer.
He drank somebody's beer. Came out a little worse for wear, particularly for Carver, and then went home. And then the Emerald Syndicate comes back. They get their payment from Caleb. Minchinos gets his first glimpse at the Syndicate, who he's familiar with from back home in Remodina. And then Giorgio came back.
Yep.
And I think that's where we left off, having the plan to sort of split off and sort of rest and recuperate and sort of take care of everyone's own business for a few days, at least until it's time to move the boat.
Which I've been
Push.
studying. I got trouble. I've been studying to do that.
That is correct. And actually, how about we start there? So, during the week, with Giorgio back, and Morden, one of Caleb's followers, having basically declared you new captain. He has no authority to do so, but he's like really like aggressive about it. And also, you have a bicorn hat with a dandelion on it now, so
It's true.
it's basically law now. And Giorgio is okay because in his mind, this makes him Commodore, which is one step up from captain.
There.
So throughout the week, Giorgio sits down with Rosie and attempts to teach you sort of the ins and outs of running a ship, how to basic fundamentals of like where starboard is.
Important.
Difference between port and starboard. You learn what a jibe is and how it's different than a jib. But that a jib may be useful in a jibe. It's like it's all very complicated. You learn about knots and rope, like various hitch knots and bow lines and sheet bends, and then your practical training ends. This is probably, we're rejoining on the 12th of Azuros, and the last session ended on the 6th. So this is probably like 2 days ago, I would say. Giorgio takes you out to the ship and gets a couple of his crew together to handle, a couple of tasks. But for the most part, asks Rosie to get the ship ready to leave the docks.
Yeah.
So as he's standing sort of like smugly at the top of the ship with a smirk on his face, he says to Rosalita, let's take it out. And he says, I need you to get four skill checks here.
Uh-oh.
1 athletics,
Okay, that's fine.
1 acrobatics,
That's fine.
a sleight of hand, and a perception.
Okay, let's get athletics out of the way first.
It'll be fine.
Okay.
Nice. Very nice.
All right, acrobatics next.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, that's all right. What was it? Sleight of hand.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And what was the last one?
The last one is perception.
Only go up from there. Oh, I lied. Oh,
Wow.
I saw 3 dice there. 2 of them are
I
1
know,
and a 2.
I was
Yeah.
not sure what
It's
that
because
was.
of Lucky.
Oh, that makes sense.
All right.
Right.
Yes.
That makes lots of sense.
So you rolled
now.
a 1, but because you're a halfling,
It corrected itself.
yeah. This is why halflings make great captains.
Here we go. Now we
Fair
know.
enough.
Yeah. As Giorgio would know as well. You're exhausted by the end of it because this is normally a job for like 6 to 8 seasoned crewmen running around carrying big coils of rope, lashing sails and hoisting things, and just basically just doing hard labor. And you're doing all of it. The 2 crew members that he managed to like wrangle together for their off day are basically just sitting on the side of the boat with like bottles of ale in their hands, and they're just watching. And you're just like running from end to end, making a surprising display. It takes you a while, obviously, but the DC on all of those checks was 12,
Oh, sweet.
which means you succeeded on all 4. And by the end of it,
You level up. That's
the wind sort of billows into the large square sail on in the center, and the crewmen are just kind of looking around at each other. And Giorgio's like, "Well, you idiots coming in?" And they like jump over, they get on boat, and Giorgio sort of walks you to where the rudder control is, and he's like, "It's yours."
This is the best day ever.
You head out onto the river. You're sailing past, various other logging ships and things like that. Fairly light traffic, and Giorgio's just kind of taking in the whole thing. He's got a bit of a prideful smirk on his face, and he's like, "I had a feeling you'd be all right." He like reaches into his jacket pocket, pulls out a flask of something, takes a swig, hands it to you.
Of something. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, wise. You're on duty.
Yes, that's totally why.
So he's sort of breathing in the cool air over the lake. It's a warm day, but it's sunny, and he kind of absent-mindedly is like smiling, but it's sort of a sad smile. And he kind of looks back to you and he says, "You know, Rosie, you remind me of somebody.
Oh, who's that?
It's someone I can't actually remember. It's funny that I know. Can I ask you something?
Of course, anything.
Well, you're a well-read halfling. I've sailed with you for a few weeks up from Adiaco. I've heard your stories. Well, take a good look at me. All right? Take me in.
Okay.
Do I remind you of anyone from any of your stories?
The delinquent.
You can make a history check.
All right, because I was like,
And you can also, if you would like, use your journals of Marshmallow Dandelion.
yes. Oh, marshmallow. So both
actually-
or
Yeah, start with history.
Nice.
And then give me a D100 roll.
Trapper Rosie.
Just gotta remake the
yeah.
emote now.
So, you know that there are plenty of mentions of famous and infamous sailors, and even pirates in the journals. Some of them are even halflings. But as you sort of recant various stories and things like that, Giorgio just seems to get sadder. He's like, "Yeah, I was afraid of that." And while you have lots of knowledge, Giorgio, in his current state, he doesn't really fit any of the stories that you've got sort of memorized. But there are a few nameless captains in these journals. The only downside with them is that they're not super fleshed out like an entire book. They're more like mentions made by Marshmallow Dandelion.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm going to be honest with you. Well, all right, I'm not crazy, okay?
No, of course
Let's
not.
just get that out of the way.
We're not there.
Ah, damn it.
See, the thing is, I don't actually recall who I am. I mean, I know who I am. I just can't remember who I was. If that makes sense.
Why is that? Did you hit your head?
I don't know, actually. I got this feeling in my bones, you know?
Hmm.
I was once like, I don't know, somebody important. I spent years. I don't know. I don't look like a reader, but for the last 2 years, I've been reading every book I could get my hands on. I've been talking to sailors, hoping somebody would recognize me. Maybe knew who I was, but nothing yet. But my memory only starts from about 2 years ago. I woke up in a pig pen on the shores of Adelyard without a copper to my name. Truth be told, the only reason I'm called Giorgio is because it was written and stitched on the inside of my pants.
Huh. Convenient.
Miss Dandelion, I'm certain that I was someone important, and it's going to kill me if I don't figure out who it was. Now, I don't think Mr. Caleb likes me very much right now, but I would really appreciate it if you could put in a good word for me and maybe keep me on the crew.
I can make you a deal.
All right.
No more drugs.
No more selling drugs.
No more selling drugs.
Deal.
And you need to stop drinking.
Oh no, Miss Dandelion. I mean, I got it in my bones, you know.
But if you want your memory back, the best way to start getting it back is to cut out all the alcohol.
I'll give it a shot.
All right. And if you keep your nose clean, well, I'll try to keep you on the crew, and I'll see if I can't help you figure out who you were.
That's awfully kind of you, Miss Dandelion. That's and in exchange, I'll keep teaching you how to run the boat.
Wonderful. It's a deal.
It's a deal. He kind of puts his little halfling hand out to yours. And
Well,
he's
it's the
like,
same size as mine. It's not that little.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He says, and any books you find, when you're done with them, maybe leave them in my cabin.
I'd be happy to.
Maybe something will jog my memory.
I always love a
thanks.
good mystery.
What do you say we take a day, we sail on down to Green's Cross, and then back?
Let's do it.
All right. So he takes his flask out again and goes whoop, like flings it off into the harbor. And you spend the next 2 days in sort of practical training. And I'll update this on your sheet, but we will start ticking up your proficiency in sea vehicles.
Awesome.
Yay.
Hooray.
Thank you, Captain Rosie. On the way.
All right. Who's next?
I guess I can go next. I was going to get Minchinos to help with me as well, though.
That's right. Yeah. So, Navik, you wanted to research sort of why the
history.
Goliaths were forced out of the Ceresian steppes. Phil, if you're looking at the maps,
Yep.
and you kind of hover sort of over the land that is the Ceresian steppes, basically everything south of the Gale Breaks, Fort Yazid, and the Sanctuary Peaks is the Ceresian steppes. The area sort of west of Goldmount and the end of the Sanctuary Peaks is something else, though. But all that green land in there. And it is sort of the breadbasket of this continent. It's where the best agriculture is, the most food production, and something, as you have learned from sort of your seers in the tribe, something forced the Goliaths out of this land a long, long time ago. So long ago that they've kind of even forgotten sort of what it meant to be from there. But all they have left is this prophecy that one day the Goliaths who were forced into the mountains will be able to sort of retake their lands. And so Navik and Minchinos, on sort of a lightly rainy morning, I guess you guys head to the archives?
Be the likely place to start.
Maybe Aziz is later.
Sure.
Yeah, that'll be great.
All right, so you guys head to the archives. You're permitted access to basically everything except for the taboo section, or the forbidden section,
Ooh, the
which is
taboo
where you were
section.
before.
Tell me more.
And I'll get you both to make me, or one person to make me with advantage, either a investigation check, and you can modify it by either your intelligence or your wisdom, whichever you prefer.
Oh, I have a.
I'm looking at
Two.
you.
Okay.
Come on, Trapper John.
All right. I'll do an investigation then.
That's pretty good. Okay, so Minchinos, Navik, you're kind of like looking down the aisles and things like that, and just like pulling out random books. There's some sort of system going on in here that allows them to like, keep track of everything, but it's like a system of dots and weird things, and like who the hell knows what's going on. It's not even alphabetical. Minchinos comes back to a large boardroom table with a stack of books, flips them open. Minchinos, you don't speak Giant, do you?
I do not.
Try to learn.
So
I was sort of learning, but not really.
yeah, you slide the ones written in Giant over to Navik. Navik, what other languages do you speak?
Common and Giant.
Okay,
And some Halfling.
that's right. That makes sense. All right. Did I put a number next to your halfling knowledge?
30%.
Okay.
But I don't know if I should actually know it because... No, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
30%.
I actually think I might bump that up to somewhere around 70, since you're allied with Belbuck. Okay. So, and then I want one more investigation roll as you guys sort of divvy up the books. This one's for both of you as you kind of are skimming through.
Alright.
This one is going to be intelligence based.
Trapper John.
Nice. Nice.
All right.
Not a problem. Glad I'm here.
So helpful.
And not setting the place on fire this time.
Yes.
It's very important.
First.
So between the two of you, when you're sort of talking back and forth, and I don't know, like, Navik, what is this experience like? You're basically researching. Is Navik cool with that kind of thing? Or is he bored out of his mind?
I'm a little bored, but because it's something that I want to know,
Yeah.
I'm pushing through it.
Okay.
But the real question is, are there pictures? Then he'd be good.
Sometimes there's maps. Sometimes they'll draw pictures of like interesting buildings and things like that.
I make sure that I point out pictures and things like
Yeah.
that. Slide
Yeah,
this
every now
over.
and then.
Ooh, look at this one.
It keeps my mind occupied.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so you guys rolled pretty well. Here's what you learn. You know that long ago, very long ago, the Goliaths actually predate humans and dwarves in the steppes. They were sort of here living among hill giants, gnolls, and even some like goblinoid races. But the Goliaths were really the masters of that land. And they worshipped what you now know as the Leviathans of the Leviathan Expanse, of which there were 6, one of which you met, sort of, or you were bestowed a sword by.
Great axe.
A great axe, yes. That is Abiala, who also happens to be the creature that the halflings from Belbuck sort of revere. It's like a Loch Ness sort of creature that supposedly lives at the bottom of Lake Bottomley. The other 5 are Avalos, of the winds, Nira, which is fire, Teratuga, which is soil, and then there are 2 more which are sort of unique to Goliath culture, which are Acanthos and Yitha, which are the sort of gods of beast and bone.
What was the second to last one? Sorry.
Acanthos.
Thank you.
So anything I find that I can read about the Fire Leviathan, I will sort of surreptitiously set aside for myself.
Yeah, I thought you might be interested in.
It's a hunch.
Yeah. And one more sort of pseudo correction. So basically, there is among the gods of Goliath life, you have earth, water, fire, wind, beast,
Heart.
and bone. But
I was gonna say
specifically,
that.
it's not all water. It's fresh water, because Goliaths don't trust water they can't drink. And in fact, even these days, it's sometimes like Goliaths will like turn down saltwater, like seafood, because it's wrong. There's something wrong with it. And the Goliaths sort of lived here in harmony, catered to by these Leviathans, and then they weren't. You guys are going through these books, and you're finding sort of the before, and then you find the after, but you don't find the cause. You know that what remains of Goliath stories and art is that something unexpected arrived, and it forced not only the Goliaths but the Leviathans themselves out of the lands, up against the coast to the south. But of course, no Goliath would flee into the sea, so they went up. And that's how they came to be in the Leviathan Expanse. And how it came to be called that, yeah.
They forced the Leviathans and the Goliaths?
And the Goliaths. The other thing you find, and this is written in Giant, at the back of a book called The Great Retreat. The book is sort of informative, but it doesn't really explicitly talk about Goliaths. Rather, it talks about the Colossi, which you come to understand are basically the Leviathans, just under a different name. At the back of the book, there's a list of sources, one of which strikes you as interesting, in that there's a temple in the Sanctuary Peaks that the author describes as profoundly unsettling. And they refer to something called the Whispering Door. It says that the door remains sealed. There is no obvious way to open it, and no tool seemed to be able to scratch it. However, that same door is written upon in the language of giants, not as inscriptions, but more like graffiti. And many of the stories and anecdotes that this book took were from the graffiti written all over this temple door. And you learn sort of an approximate geographical location for it. And I think that's all with those rolls.
Still not bad. Still a
Yep.
decent amount of info.
Actually, Manchinos, you speak Ignis, right?
Correct.
You actually get a little extra,
Woo!
specifically referring to Nira,
Okay.
the sort of Leviathan of fire. You actually learn that this was actually a phoenix.
Okay.
And you learn that when the Leviathans and the Goliaths and the other races sort of retreated south, Nira didn't make it. Nira was destroyed. There are sort of two stories sort of conflicting about how that happened. One suggests that that whatever came basically consumed the Phoenix or destroyed it. The other story, which is more from the Goliath's perspective, is that Nira basically sacrificed herself to basically pour her heat into the Goliath race so that they could survive in the mountains, and basically destroyed herself in doing so.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's it for that. The other thing Manchinos and Caleb were going to do together was go and track down information for finding Emma.
Hand in hand.
And also,
I was gonna say, hold
yeah.
hand and skip.
Oh, this won't be tense at all.
Fine.
All right.
And kiss.
So, if I remember correctly, we found out that she was being held in the Temple of Tyr. And there were some charges. We weren't sure where Edwin was, but probably at his house. We didn't check yet.
Yep.
And I forget the other guy's name that accused him.
Enzo Silva.
Yeah.
Enzo Silva. Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So Jubilis the guard had given you the office address of a counselor named Veronica Van Horn
Right.
before asking about checking out a rash or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that was all Trapper John. That wasn't my
Yeah.
problem. It was Dr. Navik. So yeah, actually, I had forgotten about that. Thank you. So yeah, let's go. I would go visit the that councilwoman first.
Okay.
And
and you take
if
Navik.
Navik wants to tag along, I'm not Navik. If Caleb wants to tag along, fine. Just don't talk much.
Aw. You know I would totally talk much.
That's what it worries me.
This one time at
If my sentences go more than 3 words talking to Caleb, it's a miracle.
So the three of you go, or
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, I'll go.
So
Probably a good idea to have Navik referee.
Yeah.
it's true.
that
One thing
my
was
camera
missed in the
first.
recap. One thing we missed in the recap was, in fact, that I threatened to demolish and disintegrate Caleb.
Yeah.
So, just to be clear.
But that's like par for the course right at this time, right?
Oh no,
So-
this one was pretty hardcore.
Finger guns.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes,
Um,
just visit the councilwoman.
So it's over near the meat market,
The
Right.
meat market.
and three of you head over there for 10 o'clock when her office usually opens up. There's no line or anything like that, and there's just sort of a plaque on the door that says Counselor Veronica Van Horn.
All right. Is it closed? The door closed, or
I'll try and
Yeah,
open it.
it's closed, but it just opens up when.
all right? Yeah, I'm just
sort
gonna
of
open up,
forces in.
walk right in.
There is a young woman no more than 35. She is sort of dressed in sort of a smart outfit, her hair straightened, sort of falling over her shoulders with a slight curl at the end. She's got sort of a nice set of reading glasses sort of perched on the end of her nose. And she gives you sort of a big warm smile, as only a elected official can give. And she says like, "Oh, well, hello, welcome."
Good morning. My name's Mincino Sinflacari. You may recognize the name with my companions. We came back after we left at the end of the war on a mission, and we are back, and we've heard some disturbing news about one of the people that helped us defeat the Slod invasion, and our friend and comrade Emma Salvador. And I'd like to find out some information about this. I do have information regarding where we went and what we did, and I'd like to understand what happened here.
I understand. Well, it's nice to meet you. I've tried to meet everybody who played a role in the invasion.
You must have missed the most of us then.
Well, that's true. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting any of you and yourself. And she kind of reaches a hand over to Navik.
I shake her hand.
Sounds like Navik.
She's wanting your name.
I'm Navik.
Okay, Navik. Good. And
Also
you
Trapper
are...
John.
Trapper. Do you trap Johns?
Only at the only down in what is it, Adiaco.
Oh, is it sort of like a performance thing? Theater. All right.
Sure, we'll go with that one.
See you. And she looks down to Caleb and she goes, and your name?
Caleb Dragonhewer. Nice to meet you.
It's a strong dwarven name. You're awfully young looking.
Can't judge a book by its cover.
I kind of glare at Mincino's.
I ignore him.
She shakes your hand.
Ignoring a glare, I guess.
Just turning away.
She sits or she gestures to the chairs and remains standing until the three of you are seated.
I'll sit right in the middle one. Pull myself forward a little bit.
Navik and Caleb, do you guys sit?
What do the chairs look like?
They're like overstuffed, sort of cigar chairs, like smoking chairs that you might find in like an airport lounge where the pilots stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a stool to get into yours.
I'm gonna assume I'm not in my armor at this moment because it'd be kind of awkward.
Probably not. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'll pull up a chair.
Okay.
Kind of scoot away from Mincino's, all like high school like.
She recognizes that there's something going on, but she doesn't like touch on it at all. And she goes, so you said Emma Salvador.
Right.
Right. Well, I don't know what all you've heard, but of course she's arrested and charged with treason.
I had heard that. I find it extremely hard to believe, but I'd like to find out the details here.
Yeah, I did too, to be honest. But while she was given a trial, unfortunately, the evidence brought forward was sort of indisputable. Multiple witnesses, in fact, dozens of witnesses.
What was she accused of actually doing?
So there was an organization operating in Bremwick. I think it was called the Patron Saints during the crisis, who were, as far as the investigators were able to uncover, were basically funneling valuables out of the city during the crisis for storage in faraway places.
Correct.
Also seems that they were sort of creating a monopoly on any fresh water and food, and using that as sort of a bargaining chip for what people thought um, they would never need again. Of course, when the crisis ended, the patron saints were nowhere to be found. But there was some evidence remaining that Emma Salvador had been in contact with them and even helped them accommodate. On top of that, from what I understand, normally treason on that scale would be grounds for beheading, as you know.
Mhm.
The only reason I think she's still alive is that I believe that the Tyr high priests, she may have some information regarding the. She kind of whispers it under her breath. She goes, "The cult of the eye."
I see. I've heard of that. I'm not very familiar with it myself.
Yes, it's quite ugly stuff.
Most of that has happened while we were down. We were down very far south in the Leviathan in France,
I understand. Yes.
so we were out of touch with a lot of this. I do want to set the record straight, however. Many of the patron saints were actually killed in the invasion, helping us to stop the Slot invasion. And I know that some of them actually had to flee. But if Emma Salvador was charged with treason, then maybe we should have been too, because we all together to stop this invasion and close the portal.
Are you saying that you have information on these patron saints?
Only what they did during the invasion and how they helped us stop the Slod.
Really? And she kind of like reaches for a quill and a sheet of paper, and she's like, "What can you tell me about them?"
They were a group that basically overtook the underground tunnels. They probably did run a little bit of a black market. They weren't the only ones, but they also did help us ferry people around, refugees trying to escape. They got a lot of people out of the city, but also they were able to get us into the core, so we did not have to fight our way through the entire army to get to the palace, kill the head slot, and close the portal.
It did take a bit of influencing.
Mm-hmm.
I see. So you weren't a member,
No.
but they facilitated your movement through the city to sort of.
They definitely facilitated us being able to get around the city and create strike teams to help alleviate the invasion and create distractions that let us get into the palace.
Well, I admit there were certainly plenty of stories of good these patron saints
Mhm.
had done with
Well,
the
they-
city and helping
the-
people eat.
I'm telling you this mostly because I have trouble believing that Emma Salvador's contact with them would constitute treason, because that was the context of the contact.
Well, this is can you make me a what's it gonna be? I want to get her to have a read on how trustworthy you are.
So persuasion, performance.
I think persuasion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, she stands up, she goes over to the door and she locks it. She goes over to the front window and she pulls down the blinds. And she says, "Now, this doesn't leave this room, right?"
Of course.
Sure.
Okay. Well, to be completely honest, I quite liked Emma. She worked tirelessly, it seemed, for the city. Now, the reports and the witnesses that were brought forward painted a grisly story, and If it were true, to rob a city under siege from a position of power, it would be unforgivable. But, well, I just don't know what to believe. There's so many conflicting reports, and it happened all so fast. They rushed the case. And if I'm honest, I felt like there was some bad blood between Enzo and Emma to begin with. See, when the city guard was sort of in shambles after the crisis, this is still a city of over 80,000 people. It needed to be policed.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came time to search for that, there were a couple of options. There was the Great Company out of Ramodna,
Familiar with
known
them.
militant mercenaries, reputable. There was the organization known as the Reapers, who are normally in monster slaying, but I guess they can garner groups of people together pretty quickly. They're rich with coin. They've done work with the city in the past.
Right.
And then there was this Church of Tyr, which seemed strange. They were more like a philanthropist sort of organization. They were more about going into places that needed support, medical healing and stuff. But they put in a bid and suddenly started hiring people and providing jobs, and Enzo basically forced that through. Now, Emma said, how can we trust these people? Then had some trepidation about them in general.
So the advocate for this organization that Emma questioned was the lead accuser of this treason. That's what you're saying to me.
Yes.
And that didn't strike anybody as odd.
Well, as I
Intimidation
said,
money.
I understood that Emma's position was vulnerable. I understood that Enzo was probably making a play to maybe take her seat or replace it with somebody that fell more in line with his way of thinking. Yes, of course that all. But I'm just one counselor, and I am not above the law.
No, of course not, but neither is Enzo.
Well,
anyhow, well, I appreciate the information. Would you be able to use any sort of influence to get us an audience with Emma?
well, you're not trying to do something crazy, are you?
I'll be perfectly honest, we consider Emma a very good friend, and I'd like to check on her welfare.
Just want to talk.
But I want to talk, I want to see what's going on, and I want to make sure I get to the bottom of this. And if it is in fact true that she committed treason, I will be the first one there to swing that axe. But I have every confidence in the world that is not the case.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't have a lot of contacts with the church. I can give you some names, perhaps.
That would be a good start.
The other thing is, I think the treason thing is only secondhand now, because now the church is interested in this whole cult thing, which seems just crazy. But now her husband's disappeared as well from Fox.
Wait! What happened? What happened to her husband?
Edwin. Yes, the governor of Fox Run has just flown the coop.
It doesn't seem.
Which honestly only adds to the suspicion.
Slightly. And I apologize. I do appreciate your information. I am upset at the situation that my friend is in. And it's unfortunate that we were away on this mission.
Yes. Well, I'll give you, and she writes down a couple of names on a piece of paper and hands them to you. There is a name on there that at least Caleb would be familiar with, which is Brother Heed. And actually, you talked to him at the docks as well when you first arrived.
Yeah.
He was sort of the lead investigator. And she says, I would start here. if there's governmental sort of permissions that need to be acquired for them to feel like you've been vetted, I'd be happy to sign off on that. But aside from me just walking into the tier and asking to see her, I don't think I can help very much more.
Okay. No, I can do that much. I can be persuasive if I need to be. I do appreciate your help and your assistance, and hopefully we can come to a happy conclusion to this sordid tale.
I would very much like that as well, and one with as little excitement as possible.
I make no promises. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
She goes, funny jokester, this one.
He is definitely a jokester.
I'm going to burn something down.
What's that?
Nothing. I'm going to make sure that this is taken care of.
She's like, good. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure there are a lot of other things that you need to do today.
Yep.
I will, if you keep this in confidence, our little
Of course.
conversation here, I will keep what you told me in confidence as well.
And if I have information to share, I will let you know. And if I would appreciate being kept in any loops that you may find out. We will be staying at the Swine and Pearl. So
Sassel's place.
yes.
Yep.
What a sweet boy. Okay, that sounds good.
Yep. And he will know how to contact us if we are not there to receive the message ourselves.
Perfect. It was a lovely meeting you. I hope you have a wonderful
Pleasure.
day.
Same to you. Can I take a check to see how straightforward she was being with us?
Sure. Yeah. Give me a insight check. All three of you can, if you would like.
Sure.
Trapper John.
What a nice lady.
She seemed nice.
Yeah, she was.
There was no candy on the desk.
You get the sense that there is this is a person who is new to the job
Mm-hmm.
and is attempting to navigate a much more hostile political climate than she was expecting, and protecting her own ass along the
Got
way.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get the sense as well when anytime Enzo's name came up, she kind of wanted to slink away a little bit, as though she is particularly afraid of him.
Okay. So as we're leaving, say to them, so we just walk over to the Temple of Tyr, or do we go visit Mr. Enzo Silva?
I think we should go to Aziz.
But why?
What is Aziz going to help us with?
Can he scry?
Yeah, probably. Fine. We'll go to Aziz. I make no promises about not burning his house down again.
You know who I learned can scry today? Ithis.
Oh man.
Yes, but he doesn't know Emma.
That's true.
And he vanished this morning. I don't know where the hell he is.
He flew
Yeah.
the coop.
He did-
I was waiting for it.
I see what you did there.
So yeah, you guys want to go find Aziz?
If we have to.
Yep. The other thing I do want to make sure I mention, while we were at the archives and things, I did want to find out about enhancing my education and the other matters we talked about as well.
That was the I had written down switching attunements.
Switching attunements and learning some new skills,
Um,
and then finding the equipment to support those skills.
I don't see it. Which ones are these? You can send me a message. Oh, yes. Okay, understood. Yeah. Do you want that sort of off screen, or do you want that?
Just
scene.
want to make sure that we can do that later. We can do the scene later, but I just want to make sure it was record.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So the three of you move out to the sort of second ring of Brimwick.
Are we
to
being followed?
Do a perception check.
I mean, it's a fair question.
I'm not being subtle at all. Either. I'm walking around like I own the damn place.
So normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywhere.
No, I'm even exaggerating it more. I'm going back on my foot nobility asshole bullshit.
You do not appear to be being followed.
We have no idea.
And you find yourself outside of the sort of dilapidated-looking apartment building. It's clear that this side of the city has not received a caring hand yet.
So it looks the same as when we left.
Basically, yeah.
Even before the invasion, it looks the same.
The west side of the building is still like a do not go here setup.
Mhm.
There's like blockades. But you find the stairwell and climb up to the fourth floor down the hallway where you originally found Maggie. And to Aziz's door, which is just slightly ajar.
His door is ajar.
And I'm sure his room is still a mess as all hell.
Does it still smell the same?
Oh yeah,
Like
it
old
actually
man.
kind of smells worse because now it's the summer and the carpet might actually be molding.
Oh God. Okay.
Are we sure it's the carpet and all the books?
I forgot to get my stuff to smear under my nose. All right, let's go into this episode of Hoarders.
All right. So how do you approach the door? Do you knock? Do you just open it?
I'm just
I
going to
go
go
in.
over and push it open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
Aziz!
Navik will go in.
It goes thump, and the door hits something on the other side.
Is that you, Aziz?
You don't hear anything.
I push it open,
How far open
possibly
is
breaking the door.
Here, give me a strength check.
Oh God!
it? Oh,
Oh,
that was close.
Navik goes gunk. There's a lot of weight behind that door.
How big is it open?
At this point, after like ramming it, it's probably like 4 inches open.
Ugh.
You can like fit a hand through, and you can feel there's just like stacks of books on the other side.
I'm gonna Missy step.
Okay. Um,
and you appear
So-
on the pile of a dead cat.
yeah, I was gonna say, what happens when you misty step into an area that you can't see?
The thing is, they said the door's open a bit, so I can see through the door.
Oh, you want to go to a specific location?
Yeah.
Got it.
So like,
Yeah,
I'm
there's just,
looking
like-
through the door and seeing an open area, and I'm Missy
Got
stepping to it.
So you bamf into the room, find yourself balanced precariously on a stack of like loose leaf paper. And
Of
you
course.
Kind of,
Par for the
but
course.
all around you, it's just like somebody's created
Ugh.
a topographical map out of textbooks. And it's just like swathes of it. Like it looks like you would have to swim through here.
Lovely.
But you do see the steps going down into the lower room where he had his sort of magical setup room.
Yeah. Where I
Um,
tried to kill Maginos
and-
first time. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is there's light in there that's sort of flickering this sort of pale blue, almost like light being refracted off of a pool in a way.
Okay. What's behind the door is blocking it from opening?
Just like 10 feet of books.
God.
You're gonna have to dig it out.
Oh man.
Oh, I'll get a firebolt ready.
I can if you want. Yeah, I guess I don't have much else.
Fireballs. Fireballs.
I don't need to burn down his house yet.
I cast firebolt.
You should have did it on the
Oh,
door. I'll go through and start pucking the books out.
All right, so you're just like moving books out of the way
Yeah.
until So it takes about 5 minutes,
Oh,
but
God.
eventually you get the door to open, like just big enough for Navik's frame to fit through.
I'll read some of the titles and see what they're all about.
Most of the titles aren't even in the language; they look like runes. Some of the books just appear to be like no cover, just pages. Some of them are empty. Some of them appear to be magazines
Oh, Aziz.
from like catalogs around the city.
Popular apparatus.
Yeah, but they're like from 30 years ago too.
Finally get through all the books. I'm like, if he's not here, we're burning the place down.
Finally,
This is a-
something we agree on.
This is the fourth floor, right?
Yep.
Or so. What about the people below?
Flames go up, we're fine.
Flames go up. Oh,
Yeah,
Where's
I
the people above?
I don't know if I believe this.
No, heat rises. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
totally.
oh, look at you two bonding.
Trust me.
Fire.
They're bonding
Trust
over
me.
fire.
See,
There
you
you go,
trust me.
yep.
You totally trust me.
Um,
Wow, yep,
I do.
totally.
You're completely convinced.
Absolutely.
so the three of you are in there. You can see the light coming from this sunken second room.
Head down
Before,
there.
before we head down, I am going to cast Detect Magic.
All right.
Give me the 30-foot aura, just so I can see what's going on around.
So you're picking up all kinds of
Every
sort
single
of
book.
magical auras in some books. In fact, you follow a trail into sort of like a side room, which should have been the kitchen, but it's clear that no food has been prepared in here.
Thank God. Thank God.
Only books.
And there are about 10 books like laid out on every available surface, and all of them have a quill that is just sort of dancing through the pages. You recognize this kind of thing as what is the word for it? Amanuensis, which is basically the magical form of copying text
Xeroxing.
and,
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Are they all
What
writing the same thing?
I was gonna say,
They all appear to be duplicating the same book. That's right.
Okay.
what are they writing in, if we know?
Can I recognize the writing?
Make an Arcana check.
I'm not bad at that.
Can I do that too?
Sure.
You got no idea.
I'm not even
Um,
gonna bother.
You can pick up on some of it. A little bit is kind of over your head, but
Mhm.
it is definitely divination related.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
and appears to be the covers appear to be in the author is labeled as Aziz himself.
Am I?
Yeah, not at all surprised. All right, let's get downstairs then, before the spell wears off.
Can I do my comprehend languages to be able to read it?
So spells aren't written in a language.
I'll share what
Oh,
I'm seeing.
fine.
Yeah, you can, like, everything is written in common. So you can at least garner, if you were to like open up the book, you would disrupt the magical
Yeah,
spell that's
Caleb
going on.
would totally do that.
Okay, you just walk over to one of the books and you
Just
just like
pull it
flip
up.
it over to
Yep.
the front page. The pen is like trying to write in the air. It's like you fucked up his 3D printer, man.
That's the worst.
Man,
Yeah, you
can't
flip to the
reset
front,
that.
and it is essentially Aziz's latest theories on the source of divination magic, the extent to which it can be. It's basically his research treatise.
Okay.
All right, so I just walked downstairs.
You step down into a room that is tidier, presumably because you can see like salt floor designs and things like that for the purposes of ritual casting.
Mhm.
And in the center of one of these circles, you can see the source of this sort of flickering blue light is emanating from this salt design and sort of flowing up in wisps. And sitting in the center, cross-legged, with a steel bucket on his head is Aziz.
Just where we left him.
All right. Do I have any idea what he's doing? Do I recognize the spell or anything?
Give me an Arcana check with disadvantage.
Sure. Yep. I got no idea. The fuck is he doing?
It's ritual based.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
No
your detect
ritual, I know.
magic is sensing divination
From
Okay.
him? Or from the bucket?
from
Spell.
the ritual. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
from the aura.
All right.
Shout out to him. Hey, Aziz.
There's no response.
Thaumaturgy. Aziz!
Oh gosh.
Yeah, there's like a shudder in the room, and there's like a brief moment where the bucket just goes. "Eh." Just the slightest of movements.
I will huck the book I still have in my hand at him.
Kang!
Don't.
The bucket flies off his head, and he goes, "No!" He kind of falls over. His hair is all matted around his face. It looks like he's been sweating in there. He's got 3 blindfolds wrapped around his head. You can see there are things stuffed inside his ears, like cloth and like candle wax.
Oh man.
And he's like, "Who's there?"
Like it's us.
Is the spell still going, or did you get
Show
disrupted?
yourselves. The spell, like all of the floating blue light wisps and things like that, have fallen to the floor and turned to ash.
Okay.
And he's just like scrambling around on the ground now with blindfolds and stuff on.
I'll go over and start to pull blindfolds off.
Yeah, he's like
I'm
pulling
gonna
off
pick
these
him-
big
I'm just
sweaty
gonna pick him
headbands.
up.
You just pick him up, lift him to his feet. So as soon as he gets the bandages off his eyes and things out of his ears, he goes, "Oh, as I live and breathe. It's my friends.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah, okay.
We are
You've-
still alive.
Ruined my work.
That was him.
Caleb,
Nope.
this took me all morning to set up.
Oh, you got tomorrow morning. We got pressing matters.
It worked quite well, though. I'm experimenting with sensory deprivation. It's quite cutting edge.
Okay.
That sounds fascinating.
Yes. I
However, we're not. For that, we are in a bit of a time crunch here.
Do you know anything about Emma?
I'm
Emma Salvador.
well, the councilwoman.
Yes.
Yes.
I expect she's going to be beheaded. Yes.
Do you know?
Well,
Go ahead.
No, I was to say we would like to prevent that because she probably did not do these things.
Oh, absolutely not. No, she's quite nice. I liked her a lot. But she's doomed.
And you know
why?
this why?
I mean, very few people make it out of where she's gone. If you get my drift.
To prison?
It's the Church of Tyr. Those temple
Well,
boys. They
well,
don't-
I mean, we all and Emma too have gotten in and out of places we had no business getting into or out of. If
That
you
is
remember
true.
correctly. So
we did find an ancient laboratory in the Underdark.
that's true.
Cracked
That's
that
true.
code right open.
Kind of. We did.
I do believe that we might be the only people who can save Emma. And you've come for my
I
help,
agree. Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
as you were wise to do.
What do you know about what happened?
Well, I believe that Emma is being falsely accused of treason.
I'm going to go back to the other room and start looking through the books to see if I can find anything about gods.
Okay. Focus here, Aziz. Focus.
Yes, yeah, all right. I'm ready. Let's get this game plan in motion.
What? How did Enzo accuse her? How did this trial go? What do you know about what happened there?
I remember that the papers that announced the accusation and the trial and everything like that were shut down the following day, and there was strictly no journalists allowed to enter the court, ask questions about it. It all happened very hush-hush in a matter
I
of
see.
days. Thorn was hired to replace her.
Did everybody's
Yeah,
thing
Discord
just flicker
just
badly?
went
Yeah,
crazy.
I noticed that. I
Hiccup.
don't know if Navik.
Yeah, Navik
Yeah.
died.
Navik, where did you go?
Oh, he's
Black hole.
he's having a flashback. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's just he's gonna be catatonic for a minute. He'll be fine, I promise. So this came out of nowhere. Who do you know who testified? Do you know who was involved in the trial at all?
I'm afraid we have no leads on anybody
Okay.
who testified. I expect, though, it was probably remnants of those patron saints boys.
Okay. And what do you know about the temple?
So the temple, well, as you know, you've been in it. You know the layout.
Mm-hmm.
We know the basement quite well. In fact, we lived there for quite a while.
Right.
He's back.
Oh, he's back. Okay, good.
Oh,
Little smelling salts under Navik's nose.
It's like, yes, we sheltered in against the slot in that very basement where she's being held now. It's very sort of like disappointingly poetic.
DM
so there's
question.
an easy way to get in then.
DM question. Did we not have multiple exits, like underground stuff or anything? I don't remember the map, and it's
Yeah.
been 3 years.
There was one exit in the back that sort of moved down multi-story, sort of steep steps, and the other entrances were from within the temple itself.
And that one that went down, was that how we get to the sewers and things, or I'm trying to remember.
Oh, gotcha. So the sewers come up from just outside the temple grounds.
Okay.
So when you guys would leave to go into the sewers, you would basically go out that back staircase,
Okay.
hang a right, and then go down on the street.
Okay. All right. So there wasn't a
Sewer
I didn't
access.
remember if we had like sewer access or some other secret door in
Got it. Not into the
basement area
the
anyway.
basement itself, but
Okay.
you do know that Finethal's sort of famed well, where he likes to have people place rocks on
Mhm.
to message him. The well is in disuse, but presumably it goes down to the sewers or somewhere in that
Doesn't
basin.
As well water should come from.
yeah, totally. Wasn't there I remember an entrance being in the back of the meat shop or whatever it was in the meat market.
The meat market.
To the sewers?
I thought because that's where we went
Yes.
to take the back
Right.
route with
Yep.
Solesk
Right.
and that.
Yep, that's right.
The meat market's on the other quadrant, though.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying other options.
I don't think it led. I don't think there was a sewer access in the meat market. It was just outside.
Yeah.
Right.
The back door.
Oh, okay.
All right. So can you scry on Emma? Can you get in and see how she is?
Do you remember Edwin Salvador?
Yes. I was quite friendly with him. You know?
He also has vanished, and if you have any ability to scry and divine his location and state, that would be great too.
Well, I can certainly try. Would you give me a moment?
Sure.
Feel free to peruse.
I
Oh.
will look carefully, but not actually touch.
Oh, but don't
anything.
stay out of the kitchen. I've got very delicate work happening in there.
Yeah, that right there. I
Totally won't.
I start to point to the book, but then I decide not to.
Okay.
I sit down and stare at Aziz.
Would you like a lesson, Navik?
Oh gosh.
Sure.
Oh dear God!
We
He
don't need
grabs
to
the
let him
bucket
know.
and he puts it gently on your head.
Light.
Is it big enough for my head?
It's like a big bucket. Like it was
Okay.
almost over his
It's
shoulder.
like a wash bin.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, "Can you hear me?"
Yes.
You hear like a tinny voice echoing around your ears. He's like, "Okay, do as I say. Now,
Oh man.
just repeat the words that I say, okay?"
Oh, Lord.
And he starts to like do typical like chanting and sort of half shouts of words that don't make any sense in different languages and things like that. Do you try to follow along?
Yeah, I'll try to follow along.
Oh God.
Give me a. I'm going to call this a performance check because you're trying to mimic someone.
Excellent. I'm
That's not
proficient in
bad.
that.
All right.
Oh, so close.
You
Just a
are sort of like as Aziz is like saying these like words. He's like Sum, Koreans no, guy, and you're like following along, and you're like you can't see his hand gestures or anything like that, but you can follow along vocally, and suddenly your mind dips into itself, and you suddenly feel as though you are falling, and like your whole body recoils. It's like, have you ever woken up because you were falling in your sleep, like in your dreams, and you just like shudder and you like kick your legs out and stuff like that? Navik's whole body starts doing that. The bucket flies off your head, and suddenly you're like staring at the ceiling, and for a moment you swear you saw Bree Hilltop, your friend in Bellbuck.
Wow.
It
Wait,
was just like a flash.
Navik is scrying.
Scary. A little scary.
Nanik is now a seer.
Yes.
In the meantime, Aziz is just
Another
like
skill.
Caleb, do an investigation check.
Woo.
Another skill to add to Navik's repertoire. Excellent.
Ooh, nice. That's surprisingly good.
Yep.
That's
I'm
a
even
Caleb
surprised.
roll.
No, it's totally not a Caleb roll. Well, I guess, yeah.
I mean, technically, you were rolling it. Is what I meant.
Oh, yes. Ah, funny.
You find an interesting book. It is your eye is drawn to it because it's written in Dwarven. But it is it's a dialect of Dwarven that is usually reserved for like people of nobility. Like it's you know how in Chinese, like there's a traditional and there's sort of like a common variance of it depending on like what kind of company you're in. It's something like that, and it is about a tribe in the lands north of the Bullhead Mountains, where you are from.
Okay.
The lands of the White Weald. And it catches your eye because the symbol for Odin is on the cover. And what this is just a documentation of a tribe who worship Frigga, who is Odin's wife.
Okay.
And the book is relatively new. It seems to have been written in the last 20 years or so, which is new for literature in this world.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is sort of based on resurrection and restoration and rebirth and things like that they are sort of specialize in.
Okay.
There's not a lot of sort of like pertinent information in there, but the idea, just the sort of the idea that there are other gods, presumably still around, who know what has happened to Odin. It might be interesting. Like you've met, for instance, the Church of Balder.
Mm.
Unfortunately, they were compromised, and Tyr had sort of wiped their memories of Odin's existence successfully. But it's possible that this tribe has resisted.
Okay.
And they would be far enough away out of the Tyr Inquisition's sort of reach to be potentially unaffected by it.
Okay. I'll hang on to the book for now.
Mm-hmm. Aziz goes, done!
Okay.
Emma is in a tiny cell. She appears quite emaciated. And that's about all I could see, really. I also checked in on Edwin, and strangely, I was blocked.
Blocked.
I'm not sure if I was resisted or if he has some sort of defenses set up against it, but I was denied vision.
Interesting. All right. Well, I think it's time for us to,
Jailbreak.
at least head over that way.
We want to head over that way right now.
What time of day is this at this point?
This is probably mid-afternoon.
Yep. Yep, let's go over.
1 second. What day is this in the timeline? Is Rosie back? Is the ship back?
Rosie is not back.
I'm off
So if you
sailing
wanted to get the
ship.
gang together, we would sort of skip to the end of the downtime.
We're getting the gang together.
Yeah.
We could also ask Finithil for help as well,
That's true.
if he. And
Actually, we don't have to do it right now. I can probably go back because I am at some point going to have to hit the archives and do a little shopping.
Sure.
Shopping.
I look fabulous.
I will go to Aziz and be like, Aziz, I am borrowing this book.
Oh, yes, quite good. If you need anything more like that, I've got quite a bit.
Yeah.
Fair
We
enough.
know.
I also
somewhere.
have a task for you, if you don't mind
yes.
doing it.
Absolutely.
I am interested in information on resurrecting deities.
Oh.
Just
Now-
if it's if it has been done, if it can be done.
Just for fun.
Well,
No
you're
reason.
definitely you're
Asking
picking
for a
up the
friend.
correct book, I must say. Let me get you some additional resources here.
Oh God.
And he goes and he's got too many books. He's like stacking them on your hands, and he's puttering off to somewhere else and digging through another pile and putting
I'll
two
be like,
more on.
Machinos, need the bag.
Butt bag.
The bag.
I start walking away.
I hate you so very much.
Yeah. By the end of it, you've got books up to your chin, and
So is
like
it 3
balanced
books?
other ones in your backpack. And he's like, "This is a very complicated thing, and requires quite a bit of strength and well, you understand. But
Yes.
the real thing is that you must first understand how you kill a god. It is one thing to outright sort of destroy and take the seat as as Tyr has done. It's another
Yes.
thing to outright kill them. As I understand, you are still able to cast.
Yep.
Yes, you see, his power lives on still, and the reason is because there are still people like you in the world. To erase a god, you must have people forget.
Fair enough.
And that is the Tyr Inquisition's plan. That I'm sure you've noticed, their intent is to kill every last person who remembers who Odin was. Now, of course, there are problems with that, because it's one thing to kill a being; it's another thing entirely to erase literature, inscriptions, monuments, art. Which is why, idiot adventures go down into some random cave and bring back a Book of the Dead. Suddenly you got a cult to some long forgotten death god.
Do you have that book by chance?
I turned to
I've got quite a few
Minchinos.
dead.
Oh, he's already gone. I was like, did we do that yet?
I'm not sure, actually. We might have.
He's like, so it's quite the big task set out for those Tyr folk. But you must understand that they're not entirely evil. They're just modified. They're memories, you see.
Yes.
They're probably still good people. They just think you're a crazy person.
Can we unmodify?
I mean,
Everybody's a good person in their own mind.
Well, I disagree with that, but
Can
some
we
people are just mean to
unmodify?
be mean. Can you what, sorry?
Unmodify?
Unmodify memories?
Yeah.
He says, well, now that is an interesting idea.
Cursing from Navic.
Yeah, chapter 9.
He says,
Well, they're
I hadn't-
modified, so modify.
Yeah. Well, if we could figure out, certainly there's magic where you can implant sort of suggestions, even command people, mind control. On such a wide scale, though, and sort of indeterminately, why that would be quite the task indeed. But presumably, if Tyr was able to do it,
I'm just gonna start spinning a top just to be on the safe side.
Oh man.
it doesn't fall.
Oh, wake up! Wake up!
Start walking on the walls.
No, you fold them. You don't walk on them.
You can move.
That's fair.
But yeah, so resurrection is really just the act of remembering
Interesting.
on a wide scale. Without being murdered.
That's generally a good
Yeah.
plan. Anyhow,
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Shall we be off?
Yep.
It was lovely to see you. Please do stop by again.
Oh, we will. Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Thank you. Please come again.
Yeah.
And
And then Caleb, I will search for some more books about this subject. Okay.
sure. And one thing, stop with the gambling. Probably not good for you.
I'm sorry.
I just leave.
Yeah. He's like, well, I was just out for one drink.
And then there's a brawl. I didn't know what
He
happened.
didn't know the brawl, probably, knowing him.
Yeah. He's got a bucket on his head in a corner.
Probably.
It's very
All right.
loud in here.
Caleb.
Yep.
Make me a investigation roll.
Again, I already got
Oh,
it.
actually,
Oop.
okay. Make the investigation roll, and then we're going to take a 5-minute.
Investigation roll. Gonna be a 1. Oh, so close. No, there it is.
It is. There's the one.
All right. Does anybody help Caleb find a tinkerer, or does Caleb even ask for help?
Um,
I would help, but I'm on a boat.
yeah.
Well, this is throughout the week, so we could technically be bouncing around in timeline as we're doing this.
Yeah.
But
See, I know where one is, but I'm certainly not going to help.
The gnome that helped us in the battle with the slot, was she still around in Broadway?
She's in remote now.
Oh,
Or
okay, fair enough. 'Cause I remember it was asked before, I just couldn't recall.
Yeah.
And she's not ready at the mic anyway.
Fair enough.
she can be ready.
I'll go get her.
I will flounder around until I find someone. If anything, I would probably go to... Who would I go to?
Someone Sassel knows.
I would actually probably inquire with Finithel.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good source. All right, let's jump back in at that when we return in 5.
Yay, I can go to the washroom.
Emergency
Because
poo!
everybody wants to know.
Emergency poo!
No, not that, but hey.
Not emergency. And number 3.
That
Oh
would
my
be more
god.
than 5 minutes.
It's an event. Yeah. He'll be back next week.
We'll be right back.
After these messages.
So much.
And we are back. Hello, everybody.
Yes, we are.
Hello.
Has returned.
The next chapter is going to be that good.
Yep.
All right.
So where were we? Oh yeah, I was floundering around looking for a tinkerer, not a tinker.
Yeah, you find Caleb finds Tilly eating breakfast. And you sort of sit down next to her, and she goes, "Mr. Caleb,
Ms. Tilly, how are you?
quite well this morning. Thank you very much."
I am curious if you know, are there any local tinkerers around? Starting to kind of tinker myself. Well, not myself, but yeah.
You tinker yourself on your own time.
I'm sorry.
Go on.
I'll go to the room.
Miss Tilly knows all about self-tinkering.
God.
Oh, this has gotten interesting. Am I there? Is Rosie there?
You're on a boat.
Right,
On
I'm
a boat.
Boat's a boat.
I mean, both
Boating
Machinos
boat
and
face.
Rosie are having this weird FOMO they don't understand.
Yep.
Let me make a roll for Finethel real quick.
Oh, Finethel.
Tilly, she goes, "Well, you're in kind of the wrong part of the world if you're looking for some master tinkerers. But before the slot invasion, I heard a rumor that there might be someone in the area. Perhaps they are still around. It's only been a few months.
If you give me a location, I can go and check.
It's a bit out of town, about an hour or so. But I'll put the instruction. It's a smithy, but let me get you the instructions." And she writes a little navigation thing on a napkin and hands it to you.
Okay.
She's like, "I'm not guaranteeing anything. You may just be going for a 2-hour walk, but with any luck."
I knew that was coming.
Can't help it. It's an illness.
So does Caleb follow up on that?
Yeah, I'll hike out for a nice little stroll.
Sure, you go solo.
Yeah.
So you pack a lunch, and you get walking out the city down the logging road towards Fox Run, and then you branch off towards a couple of farmsteads, things like that, and your search brings you to what appears to be like an abandoned forge, and there are bales of decaying straw outside on the grounds. It looks sort of dilapidated. There's a broken wagon. There's a cracked cobblestone path that is overgrown with tall grass leading up to an equally unfortunate looking smithy. The forge itself is caved in. And when you arrive, it's raining, and when you step inside, the roof of the forge is sort of dripping and leaking a little bit. There doesn't appear to be anyone here, but I will get a perception check from you.
Knowing Caleb's rolls. Could be worse.
You are a proficient in smithing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, smithing tools, but yeah.
So you don't see anything, but you smell something. And for probably 40 minutes, you're just out on the grounds in the rain, getting wet, looking for where this smell is coming from, because to you it smells like a forge fire. but the forge is right there, and it is non-functional. And finally, you find a hatch that is sort of open, and there's like a lean-to with like a decaying oil skin tarp over top of it. It barely keeps out the rain. And finally, just the faint wisp of smoke sort of trails out of the hatch. And you go and you look over at it, and there's like a rope ladder that goes down into a dark cellar of some kind.
Okay. I'll head down.
Okay, you climb down. Did you? Are you in full plate?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you're just sort of traveling in your normal clothes and
Yep.
things like that. You sort of creak down to the bottom, and it's dark. You have dark vision?
Yep.
Yeah, dwarf. You're in a burrow of some kind, and it is filled with what honestly just looks like garbage. But across the room, you can see somebody, and they're sort of like illuminated by a small flickering fire, a controlled fire. Looks like it's in a crucible, and they're sort of hunched over. They are exceptionally slender. You would guess probably under 6 feet, but close to it. They have a pronounced sort of roll in their shoulders, presumably from like long hours,
Hunkered over.
leaned over delicate tasks. They are covered in fur. It's like a mottled smoky gray, and you can see that down across one side of their face, down their neck, and down one arm. There's like this splash of like deep charcoal colored fur and it runs across or highlights these two piercing eyes coming from a feline face. One golden and one sort of crystal blue eye, sort of focused and gleaming in the dark. And the head sort of turns and looks at you. And you hear a strained voice that says, "Ah, a new face. We think it might be lost, yes? Or perhaps it knows precisely where it is."
I mean, possibly. I am looking for someone who dabbles in more of the mechanical.
It asks us questions, and it sort of creeps up and gets like extends to its full height, rolled shoulders, and it's sort of like ears are twitching. And she goes, "What is its name?"
My name is Caleb Dragonhewer.
Yes, it seems to know us well. We are Tinker.
Is it possible to get your name?
You want to know our name? Do we give it our name? Why? Why have it come?
Like I said, I'm looking for someone who understands the mechanical so I can learn.
It wishes to learn.
I always wish to learn.
This is interesting. It has been a long time since somebody has wished to learn. Tell us, one who calls themselves Caleb, why does it wish to learn?
It interests me. It is, how can I put it? Almost like magic, but not. Being able to create something that moves on its own without any kind of force or outside source to push it, in a sense.
You hear a purring come up through their vocal cords, And it goes, it gets it. It thinks like we do. Yes, we can teach. We can teach. What do you wish to know? Everything?
Everything. But we will start with the basics if possible.
So you are fresh. We can teach fresh. Okay. But you must commit yourself, yes? It must be a good student. And it must pay us.
That can be arranged.
Good. It must also... How much time does it have?
Current state, not a lot. Probably, and I'm assuming that we're here for like another couple days?
No idea. You guys don't tell me anything.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Well, it was more of a question to the group out of
Yeah.
character.
Well,
I'm not there.
What-
No.
how many days have we been in? Brimwick.
Brenwick, probably. This is probably like, well, if we're kind of shortening the week that we're kind of here, probably,
It's been 5 days.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm assuming.
Rosie is just left. We'll say on the 5th day.
Yeah. Well, the
So
downtime
she-
will end after 5 days, so this is somewhere.
I'm on a boat.
Yeah, she's on a
Um,
boat.
Yeah, so I
So
will
maybe-
say probably about 2 days more currently.
The purring stops. You go, no, I cannot teach you in such small time. It will take us with it.
That can also be arranged.
We will follow it. It will feed us and protect us and pay us. And we will teach it what we know.
Sounds good.
One who calls itself Caleb. I am Grinds the Gear.
My pen stopped working.
We will get our things. We will follow one who calls itself Caleb. We have a deal, yes?
We have a deal.
Good. And the tabaxi sort of picks up a satchel, kicks over this crucible, which sprays like hot, like sort of molten metal all over, and starts a fire. And Grinds the Gears looks to you with sort of these wide, gleaming eyes and say, "Quickly now. I don't live here." And it like runs over to the rope ladder and climbs out. As you're walking away, there's just like a larger and more black-looking smoke from where you came.
And as we walk away, I will kind of question. So, why?
Why do we tinker?
Why did you burn where you were down?
Because we are no longer there.
Okay, addendum to our
secrets.
agreement is that you don't burn anything that I own or that you live in currently with us, ever.
No, this would be a foolish idea. Why burn the things you live in? I no
Exactly.
longer live in this.
That's my job, to be clear.
Yes, but when this master apprentice deal is finished, I wish you not to burn my home, which will now be your home as well when you leave.
Oh, I understand. Yes, we understand.
Okay.
So important thing, okay? If you're going to be a tinker, first rule is to protect your mind products. Things you craft,
Yeah.
they are yours. People will try to steal them. They will try to reverse engineer them. They will try to make money from your creations and your art. You do not let them. You do not leave a trace. They must always be guessing. What is one who calls himself Caleb thinking?
Okay.
How does this contraption work? You protect it, like you protect your friends, yes?
Yes.
Yes. I burned my evidence. Now nobody who comes across that stupid hole will find out what I built.
Fair enough. Wait, you had plans?
Some.
Oh, okay.
But they're all up here. So do you bring Grinds the Gear back to
The Swine of Pearl, yeah.
Swine and Pearl? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It seems very out of place in a city. You
I
get
can
the
see that.
sense that this person is like used to working in very secluded situations. They sort of twitch at the noise. They've got like one of their ears appears to be sort of partially torn and it sort of flops over. The other one is just bolt upright and it is just like angling around, taking in everything.
We won't be here long.
This is good. Maybe perhaps quieter, more conducive to learning, yes?
Yeah, we can definitely set you up. Sassel's isn't the most busy location, so we should be able to find a quiet spot.
This pleases us, yes. So, one who calls itself Caleb. 2 gold every day, payable on the 30th.
And that doesn't include your feeding and stuff. You're doing that yourself.
Well, if it does not want to feed us, maybe a bit more. Does it also not wish to shelter us
Oh no, you'll be sheltered in some way, shape, or form.
and protected from nefarious doers? Yes.
We had a delivery. There's plenty of boxes.
It fits, it sits.
Yes, definitely.
We do not eat much.
Huh.
It's all the mice.
Salty mice, yeah.
And maybe a halfling.
Never.
I'll agree to 2 gold if you also agree to help us when needed.
Help you. I am not, not good fight.
No, I don't. Whatever you're good at, and of course you're good at your stuff with your hands, building, tinkering. I'm assuming
I see,
repairing.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes, I will make myself 100% available to any needs that you might have me fill.
fair enough. And 2 gold a day it is.
Go on.
Hot.
You don't even know if it's a female or not.
So,
Yeah, Caleb comes back to the Swine and Pearl with a tabaxi.
Look what I found.
Yeah, quite tall. Sassel has never seen a tabaxi before.
What does Pocket think?
I think it's a good question, actually. I hadn't really thought about that. I think they're probably like there's some animosity. I feel like between the two of them, just like. Why does it always steal the spot by the fire?
I mean,
the windowsill.
where it's warm.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the same day as us going to the council and
Sure.
to Aziz, or was
Yeah, it can
that
be
not?
really any day.
I mean, it was a 2-hour walk there and back for me, so I could have did it in the evening easily.
I think we've gotten through all of the
Side stuff.
all of the planned things. So in those days as well, if Rosie and Caleb commit to sort of what they were learning, I'll add something to your character sheets and we'll start ticking it up for basically every day of downtime you commit to it. You
Sure.
basically go up in skill.
I am Captain Rosie.
All right. So,
If
before
we have a little more time before we leave, there's one more thing I wanted.
Do you want this to be during the downtime or sort of at the end of it?
It can be at the end of it.
Okay.
Basically, I'm going to bring Navik with me, and we're going to go pay Sylvia a visit.
Sylvie?
Enzo.
Got it. Oh, okay. So are you waiting for when court is in session?
Maybe.
He's making his own court.
Okay, we can do that.
That's fine. We can wait till they're in session.
Sure. So at the end of the 5th day, this sort of completes. And have we decided that we're going to experiment with the?
I think we were. Yeah, I think we were going to do that. Is that
okay? So the only difference is that this world operates on a 10-day structure. So a week is sort of awkward. So what we'll do is we'll have a long rest is 5 days.
Okay.
And short rest is a normal night's sleep.
Got it.
And if there ever comes a time when there's like a true sort of dungeon crawl, we may be able to like find a way to like basically well prepared and allow you to sort of take a number of nights in a row where you refresh your resources entirely.
Okay.
Or we could work something out. We can
We'll experiment with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, on the 11th of Azeros, you all wake up. Sorry, the 12th. You all wake up in the Pearl and Swine to the smell of a standard fare breakfast.
Wakey, eggs and bakey.
And of course, Sassel has to prepare it, even though Lumpy Steve's got like all the good food in the back, because nothing can exist outside of that little pocket house.
I still go back and sneak a little bit from Lumpy Steve because he's Lumpy Steve and I love him.
Yeah. What would you guys like to do today?
No, I'm going to City Hall. And anybody that's welcome to, anyone's welcome to come with me.
Ooh, I'll go with you, Minnie.
I didn't tell her that name.
Seems like something Rosie would say.
It totally is something Rosie would say, and it's exactly the type of thing that Manchinos would bristle at. But he's putting up with it for now.
I've always wanted to say, order in the court! Maybe let me hit that whole hammer thing.
We can probably arrange something. I'm sure
Sweet.
you'll probably...
All right, I'm going.
I'll let you know when it's the moment.
Let's go!
All right, so Rosie, Manchinos. This is also sort of the third day that Ithis has just been AWOL.
Okay.
Found
I
some
think you
good
said you
birdseed.
wanted me to go as well.
Yeah, I figured you would be useful to be intimidating.
Sometimes.
Anybody that wants to go, but I was planning on at least me and Navik going.
Caleb?
Where was the courts again?
It is sort of just north of Eldridge Castle, right in the sort of the heart of the city. Actually close to the Temple of Tyr as well.
Yeah, I'll probably stay back then.
Okay. So Manchinos, Rosie, and Navik head to the Civic Ring and find a sort of a line of people lining up outside, waiting to be summoned to request things, air grievances, basically get their turn in front of the council to express their will of the citizens. Before we jump to that scene, though, at the Pearl and Swine, Caleb, you feel a sort of a draw coming from your back, and it kind of runs up your spine a little bit, and suddenly there's a voice in your head,
Okay.
and it says, "I don't know if this is how it works, but if this is Mr. Caleb, this is Mitchell Huntley. Them damn tier folk have convinced Mayor Bloomy that I ain't fit for sheriff's work no more, but I gotta move out of here. Me and a couple other folk need to get out of Greens Cross. Where should we head?
Damn gosh darn foreigners.
It's been a while, hasn't it? Oh, Mr. Huntley, it's been a while. Yes, where to go for safe haven? We are currently heading to Ramodna. If you can somehow find safe passage that way.
There's like a minor delay of like 30 seconds, and then a voice comes back. Says, Modena. Gosh, that's quite a ways. We ain't got too much money. Anything you can do to help us expedite this?
I mean, out of character, I don't think there's like, am I able to somehow do that?
Well,
I don't know either.
There's you could leave money in a location and tell him where to find it. You could try to hire a courier. Finethal's good at that kind of thing. Of course, that would sort of eliminate Finethal from helping in the short term.
Yeah.
But that's basically what his job is courier.
Yeah. Just trying to think. Give me a moment.
Subtle courier.
A subtle courier, yeah.
We can circle back. If you want.
Come back.
So Rosie, Minchinos, and Navik, you join the line. There's about 30 people ahead of you. And within 20 minutes, there's about 40 people behind you. And it looks like it's going to be a busy day in court.
I start making... Is it... Thaumaturgy? God, I'm drawing a blank here. The thunder noises.
That should be...
And the tremors. Yep. Thaumaturgy, tremors, and thunder in the area.
Okay.
If you had the beans for breakfast, you can do that naturally.
Hang on. I'm going to use my fancy new tool. When you guys wake up in the morning... Oh, shit. It's super hot and cloudy.
It's literally pulling... I was going to say... Today. Yeah.
How accurate. Oh, so I'm dying. I'm fanning myself with my captain's
How many of the people that are watching are like, Celsius, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it convert to Fahrenheit. It doesn't store variables.
Canadians.
Get with the movement, man. But it's basically 106 Fahrenheit and cloudy. So the thunder noises actually might not be completely suspect.
Might.
So are you trying to convince people that it might be starting to rain soon?
Yeah. Dissuade them from hanging around.
Yeah. You see a bunch of people kind of looking up around. Some of the people at the back of the line are just like, fuck this. Like, we're never getting in there anyway. So the back end of the line shortens a little bit. The people ahead of you, especially the people in the first 10, seem like they are entrenched. There is a person that comes up while you're waiting, though, and says, hello, for a small fee, I will hold your place in line, and I can contact you when it's your turn.
I'm just going to glare at him.
I'm too high. I'm like, I'm not moving now.
Yeah.
And I'll prestidigitate and turn my eyes black while I'm staring at him.
He goes,
no.
Okay, I'm going to not work today. It's such a lovely day. I'm going to go and take it off.
Good. Drop the spell.
Good job, Minnie.
All right. You guys are out in the sweltering heat for probably 2.5 hours
Oh.
before
Wow.
you are.
I wouldn't even.
Um,
I wouldn't even start lasting that long. I would just start at some point in time.
Being that person.
Being that person, yeah, and just sort of say to Navik, can you dissuade some of these folks from hanging around or let us go on ahead of us?
Yeah. What's that smell? He had the beans.
Can't we just go up it instead? Just
You know,
walk
that
in.
works. That works. So I'll do the I'll do a quick thaumaturgy again and sort of announce, make way for the heroes of Brimwick. And we just start striding up.
do all of you leave your place in line?
I pick up Rosie and go.
I was gonna be like, oh wait, here. Oh, okay, I'm
We're
coming
just gonna
too.
keep going. We're just gonna keep going. Excuse us, pardon us. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Pardon
there's
me.
all manner of language and foul language as well, sort of like directed at your at you. And when you get to the front, there are a number of guard sort of posted at the gates, and they're like, "Excuse me, I don't
We
think
we are Minchinos and Flicari and Navik. We are heroes of Brimwick. We have returned from a mission for the council, and it is imperative that we speak to them now.
What he said.
Perhaps you remember us. We were the ones that closed the portal and stopped the Slot invasion.
I can't say I do.
Well, let's find somebody who does, and let's get this going, please.
Sir, is this a matter?
This is a matter of grave importance to the council, to the city, and we have been gone for a few months, and we have returned, and we need to speak to them now.
Make me. Well, it's actually. Are you trying to intimidate?
Yeah, I'm throwing my weight around.
Yeah, sure.
Oh!
Yeah,
Navik, are you looking imposing at the same time?
I'm trying to.
With Rosie
With,
on the shoulder.
What's Rosie doing?
Have you put me down? Or are you still holding me?
I'm still holding her.
I'm just hanging there. Going, oh right, whatever. It's too hot. to
Hanging
fight.
out.
It's too hot.
He says, it's like, what'd you say your name was?
Minchinos and Flicati.
All right. He kind of leans back and says, hey,
Should be using my hand for.
you want to... you overhear him say to another guard, he goes, there's a guy here named, I don't know, Minkinos Inflickery. Anyway, go see if the council
like
knows
it.
that name. And there's like a sort of 2-minute while there's waiting, and suddenly you see it in what is attempted to be a run. The large, rotund Jubilis, the palace guard, is sort of waddling out of the courthouse, keep trying to keep his pants up, sweating profusely in the heat. It looks like he's melting, like his hair is just matted over his forehead. He comes up and he goes, oh jeez, oh good, they're good. Come with me. Oh, Trapper John. Oh my gosh. Can't. All right, come on.
God damn
Follow
it!
me.
Oh, Trapper John.
I just walk by glaring at the guard
Yeah.
and sort of behind my back, flipping off the people in line that were swearing
Yeah.
at us.
Yeah. As you're following Jubilis and leaving the trail of sort of murmurs and curses, Jubilis has to stop every 10 feet, put his hands on his knees, oh my god. Oh, it's the hottest day in the world. All right. Come on, I'm running internal. Never mind. Just follow me. He brings you into a building with sort of huge vaulted ceilings and marble floors. It's actually quite cool in here comparatively, because the stone kind of sort of takes away and keeps the cool. The massive chamber you are brought into is very quiet, and Jubilus, sort of wiping his head on an already completely soaked handkerchief, he says, "Okay, so you guys will be next. Let me introduce you, because otherwise they might be a little confused."
They'll recognize us.
Oh, okay. All
Have you
right.
put me down yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm standing up, fixing my nose.
It's like,
Rosie Blaster run Barter Town now.
so of course it's Trapper John, and you said your name was
Minchinos.
Minchinos, and your name
I am Rosalita Dandelion, but you can call me
Rosalita
Rosie.
Dandelion. Okay, great. Whew. I got it. Does anyone have any water? Oh, actually, never mind. You're up. So he kind of like waddles up to the front, and does like a sort of awkward little bow, and like his wet hair kind of falls out of his eyes when he kind of leans over, and he says, "Introducing Minchinos Inflicari, Trapper John, and Rosalita Dandelion. They are here with some very important news for the council." And he kind of ushers back and kind of gestures you forward, and you are brought forth in front of the Council of Six as it stands today. And you recognize certainly Enzo Silva, and actually that is all you recognize at the moment.
And the one that the one we
And
spoke to,
Veronica Van Horn.
Veronica, right?
Yes. She sees you approaching and is suddenly, like, you read her body language loud and clear. She's like, "Oh no,
Oh crap!"
And in the center, Enzo Silva says, "I would like to introduce you to Veronica Van Horn, Alistair McKellar, Electra Corvi, and Mikola Hapalainen. I am Enzo Silva. How may we serve you today?"
Well, I know you remember who we are, Councilman Silva.
Yes, I do remember, yes.
And you do remember that when we left the city, we did so in a bit of a rush. We were sent on a mission that we've returned from, and I noticed that there is one less person at this council.
Well, there's quite a fewer people in this council.
There's one that was on the council when we left the council.
Are you referring to Mrs. Salvador?
I am absolutely, who is such a key part of dispelling and sending back the Slot invasion.
Yes, she certainly played her role. I suspect you have heard the news, though.
I have heard the news, and I am here to on her behalf, as I believe that what was presented as evidence against her is spurious and false, and she has been set up to take the fall for something she did not do, she was not aware of, and perhaps somebody else was and has done this to her.
So you're suggesting that she was a scapegoat?
Correct.
I see. And what evidence do you have to prove?
Emma Salvador was the most honorable person we were dealing with, and her and my associates' dealings with the patron saints were beyond reproach. They were helpful to us in getting us into the city, helping us move around underneath the notice of the Slod to be able to deal with the invasion, and that was the limit of our and her involvement, and I will testify that on my honor and the honor of my companions.
He kind of takes a moment to.
Do you know who the leader of the patron saints was?
We have not been given that information. No.
Oh, that's a shame. See, we know that, and we can give you that information, and we get information to you to show more about what happened then, and that this whatever this evidence is that supposedly was brought forth is incorrect, and an innocent woman is paying a price that she does not owe.
Mr. Inflacari, were you here for the trials?
No, that happened after we were sent on this mission by the council and by Emma Salvador.
And what was the context of your mission?
I feel that I probably shouldn't discuss that right now, considering the situation, but it was to gain some intelligence and discover more about what happened that caused this invasion. But
So you were on a secret mission from a tried treason. Did you
no,
come here asking for her release?
no, it was not a secret. I just feel that it is a secondary to the situation right now. Happily discuss it about how we went to the Leviathan Expanse and all in Belbuck and traveled the entire length of the river and lakes and mountains. But that's a longer story than I think is important right now.
Very well. So you are saying that you have evidence that may not have
I will
been
offer
discussed.
I will offer my testimony and that of my companions, and any evidence that we can provide to show that, as well as information that I'd be willing to bet counterindicates what you have been told.
Well, as you know, the trial has already been.
I understand that. But
Mr.
this is-
Inflacari, are you a citizen of Bremwick?
I don't know if they actually decided to tell us we were or not. We only, just saved the entire city. I think we probably were granted honorary citizenship or something. I'd be willing to bet that was the case. I didn't see you in the fight, so you might have missed the part where they gave us honors.
Veronica Van Horn is just like,
So
you see her
good.
like biting her hand and with a small smile.
When-
Enzo is just like adjusts his robes. He goes,
Oh wait, you weren't one of the crew that the patron saint helped the refugees get out of the city, were you? You might have missed it if that was the case.
"No, I assure you, I was in the city the whole time."
Oh, okay. I didn't see you during the big fight, so I'm just assuming.
Love it.
He says, "Perhaps the trial can be reopened, but it must be presented by somebody who is an official citizen. Are any of you citizens of Bremwick?"
We can bring one to you in very short order that will support us. I believe you know Sassel, the owner of the Swine and Pearl.
I am familiar with the business. I've not met the man.
Ah, you're missing out. I thought he knew. I thought he knew all the cool people, but yeah, no, he probably does. Anyway,
Oh, it's wonderful.
He says,
Only those that helped in the invasion.
that's true. That's true. He knew all the cool people that helped in the invasion fight.
he's like, "Very well, if this Mr. Sassel is brought to the chambers, we can start the process of reopening Emma's trial."
Cool.
Likely
Can we
have to
send
wait.
somebody to go get him? Can we send somebody to go get him? I'll wait here.
Well, this is clearly not urgent. It does not
I
have anything to do with the safety
I
of the
disagree.
city.
I absolutely disagree. There is a councilwoman being held who is a hero to this city, and for all we know, she's being held prisoner by somebody who has ill will towards the city and understands her position and her cunning.
He says, he's like, "If she is a hero to the city, then she will accept the normal justice process. She will be praised quite as highly after she is released and found innocent."
Okay, I'll wait. Okay.
Very well. So you will bring this Mr. Sassel to us in the end of the 10-day, yes?
Before the end of this day.
Well, our
but-
business here is concluded.
Is she still alive? I say to Machinos.
I have no idea. We haven't even been allowed in to see her yet.
From what I understand, Mrs. Salvador is being investigated for being a member of the Cult of the Eye as well.
I'm not.
That is an entirely different process, and not one that is under the purview of this council.
Can I do an insight check on him?
What are you trying to suss out?
I'm trying to figure out if he's stalling, if he's hiding something, if he's involved in this somehow.
I gotcha.
Ugh.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
he's just an asshole.
he's
yeah,
hard to read.
You know that he, you know that he is, you know that he's on the defensive.
Mhm.
And you know that he feels emboldened by his position at the moment. And so at this point, he is just sort of laying red tape at your feet.
Okay.
Whether or
okay.
not he's actually sort of complicit with the whole thing is not something you can tell at the moment.
Okay. All right. I'll finish up just by saying it's very disappointing to me that somebody who claims to have the city's best interests at heart is allowing an outside force to take over and manipulate the city system and cause harm to one of its heroes. And I feel badly that the city is being so ill-served by its leadership. And I'll turn around and walk away.
Mm-hmm. So as Manchinos is walking away, you can just hear his voice trailing off. Do you guys leave at the same time?
I
Well, I'd
look
be like-
disappointed at the council and then shake my head, then
Yeah.
walk away.
I'm gonna be like, so I guess that's a no on the hammer thing.
I'll pick her up then, though.
Okay.
Enzo says something.
How is the room lit, by the way?
The room is lit by skylights. So it's just sort of a gray cast light coming in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a shame.
You wanted to take out some torches.
Yeah. Yeah, if it were later in the evening, there would probably be some torches. Instead.
Are they in the sconces?
They are, yes.
All right. As I walk away, I just flip and light a whole bunch of them on fire.
Have some warmth.
Because
Yes,
it wasn't
more
warm
warmth.
enough in there.
All right, so you head down. Jubilus catches up to you and goes, "Wow, eh? What's that all about?"
Jubilus?
Exactly what it sounded like.
Was that the fat guy?
The guy who likes you, big fan.
Would you be able to get us in to see Emma?
Into the temple. Well, it's risky. It might cost me my job. But
We'll set you up with another one if you need it.
oh yeah,
Do you like cats?
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
yeah, I like cats. I got like 3 cats.
Cool. Perfect then.
Oh geez, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I do know somebody who works there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could get you in after hours, maybe.
Perfect.
We're gonna have to get you some like. Do you have anyone who can forge documents?
Probably.
Okay. Good.
We didn't actually check yet to see if Corin was still around yet, did we?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
he says, "Okay, well, if we can," and he starts like, "Okay," he's like breathing heavily. He's like, "Am I doing this? Am I really doing this?
You're going to be doing something for the best of Bremwick. You realize?
I'm doing this.
Yeah, that's right. That's
I'm
right.
doing this,
You
Chopper
will.
John. All right, all right. Well, I gotta work the rest of the shift, but I'll be done at 3 p.m. and I'll get started. Okay. Where do I find you? Do I need a code name or something? Can I have a code name?
We'll think of that later.
All right.
We'll be at
You know
the
what?
Swine and Pearl.
Just say you're the Bulette.
The Bulette.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah. All right.
big old
Great.
land shark. Let's
All
go.
right. I'll meet you at the Swine and Pearl.
Mhm.
Fine. Meet us there.
All right. Whew. All right. He kind of like walks out of the court to the front, and he's got a genuine swagger in his step as he goes and approaches the crowds now. And he like gets the next people and starts ushering them into the courthouse.
As they walk by, I say, "All right, your turn now. Go ahead."
All right, where do you head after that?
Have I already done my shopping and other things? Because I can just go do that while we're.
Actually,
No,
yeah,
we don't need a
can-
scene. We don't need a scene for it for time purposes. But
That's true. We got like 2 minutes. So maybe. Actually, does anyone have any unfinished business?
I gotta finish up with Huntley, but
Oh yeah, let's wrap that up. So Huntley's asking for basically a way out of Greens Cross and how to get to Ramodna with 3 other people.
okay. I'm assuming there's no way to like send money, or is there?
Again, by courier. There are banks in the world that can have like pocket dimensions where the money can be accessed from different locations. Unfortunately, Bremwick does not have one. There is one in Ramodna. There is one in Limericad.
Yeah, the larger ones.
Yeah. Bremwick is actually the largest population city, but as far as magical tech, they're kind of backwater.
Yeah. Typical. I will. So I can hire a courier to send resources and whatnot, right?
Yep.
Cool. I will look at doing that. Greens Cross is what, south of Adiaco, right?
No, Greens Cross is actually just down the river. It's at the fork, just south of Bremwick.
Okay.
It's
Oh, that's
probably
right.
only like 2 days.
We passed on our way back from Baumgarten,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, so then I could just technically, well, yeah, I could just leave stuff with Sassel then, and they can make their way to Bremwick and then up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, if you tell him to come to Bremwick, he could probably be here in 2 days.
Yeah, I'll do that, and I will mention to ensure symbols and such are well hidden and well out of sight,
Mhm.
especially coming up to Brumwick, and that I
Yeah.
will leave funds for him with the barkeep at
Okay.
this Swine and Pearl.
Okay.
Your cousin, Sassel.
Yeah, you know, that guy that's your family.
The less they know in terms of relations to me, the better.
Yeah, at this point, everyone knows about Sassel.
yeah, that's not really a secret.
Yeah, he's gonna be kind of pissed at us, actually.
All right, perfect. In that case, I think we will call it there.
Cool.
I'll talk with you, Joe, about the training and stuff like that.
Yep.
We can sort of hash out how we want that to work.
Cool.
And I'll also send you guys the sort of custom rules for additional skill acquisition. I've got them for skills and for languages. But since you've hired your master trainers in various funds, you are well on your way.
Cool.
Any last questions or anything like that?
Are we playing Friday? Because I know you said you had to find out.
Yeah. So, that's a great question.
We'll put it on hold.
We'll put it on hold. I can tell you probably within the hour, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go, audience. We will find out whether we're playing this next Friday, or possibly Tomoa-chan.
Watch the Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm best man in a wedding, and I forgot that there's rehearsal stuff. I didn't do any of that in my wedding.
I don't think we did either.
Nothing. Yeah.
It was full improv.
Yeah.
We just wung it. Wung it?
Wung it.
We
Wow.
winged it. Wow.
Wung it.
Okay.
Sure.
I wung it. That's my
Wunged
word
it.
of the night.
Is that like how color is spelled with a U up there? You have,
She
like,
hasn't
totally
been
different
drinking. That's the
words.
thing. She has not been drinking.
You're just making words up as you go.
In Canadaland, we make up our own words.
Cool.
It's the heat.
Yeah.
My igloo is melting.
Well, thanks everybody for watching. And we will return soon enough. Hopefully with emotes. Come on, Twitch.
Yeah, seriously. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.